Wow, that's bitter.
Is it now, Johnny?
What? Who are you?
Now, Johnny, where are your manners? I asked my question first.
I guess, yeah, it is bitter.
Well, how do you know?
Um, because it tastes bitter?
But, Johnny, how do you taste?
What?
Let's find out. To the library. Okay, Johnny, the first thing we talk about is how we understand our surroundings. Grab that book off the shelf behind you.
Well, what's this?
That is a book about sensory receptors. Your sensory receptors detect sensation. When enough sensation is detected, the sensory receptor is activated and it sends a signal via action potential to the brain. When your brain receives this information, it is called perception.
Okay, so we perceive information to be able to understand what's happening around us?
That's exactly right, Johnny. Now we have many specialized sensory receptors. Sensory receptors, chemoreceptors, mechanoreceptors, thermoceptors, photoreceptors, and nociceptors are all sensory receptors.
Well, what are all those?
A chemoreceptor detects specific chemicals. You use chemoreceptors, for example, when you smell. A mechanoreceptor detects vibration and sound, pressure, and the position in which your body is.
So they can tell that I'm doing this?
Yes. Well, a thermoreceptor detects temperatures that are not the same as your own, and photoreceptors detect light.
Well, what does a nocioreceptor detect?
Here, Johnny, give me that book.
Ow!
Do you feel that, Johnny? Those were your nociceptors.
Why?
Now, Johnny, you aren't here to ask meaningless questions. You're here to learn about taste. See here, Johnny? Taste buds are tiny structures on the surface of your tongue that contain cells that sense a specific taste. These taste receptor cells are called gustatory cells. Within the taste pore, there are gustatory hairs, which are small projections that receive the chemical information from what you taste.
What? Chemicals?
When those hairs receive enough sensation to breach the threshold, the gustatory cell will send a signal through the afferent nerve, and through the nerves in the head to the medulla oblongata. The signal will then travel to the thalamus in the brain. Finally, the signal will be interpreted in the gustatory cortex. There, the chemical will be perceived as a specific taste.
Okay, but how do I know what tastes like what?
Well, Johnny, your body is able to differentiate between sweet, salty, sour, bitter, or savory because much of your food is made up of specific compounds. For example, salty foods contain sodium chloride, then when dissolved produces the ions sodium and chlorine. The sodium ion enters into the taste receptor cell through ion channels and depolarizes the cell, which forces an electrical impulse to occur. Sour foods affect the pH levels of the cells, which also forces an electrical impulse. Sweet, bitter, and savory items bind to G protein coupled receptors. These receptors have complex reactionary systems similar to the systems which allow you to move your muscles, as seen in Adventures in Human Anatomy, Episode 82, Movement.
That's a lot of information. Can we talk about something less boring?
You ungrateful. Why, yes, let's talk about taste disorders. Here, eat this.
I can't taste anything.
Yes, Johnny, you now have ageusia. That means that you cannot taste salty, sweet, sour, bitter, or savory. Most people are either born with the disorder or they have it during an infection or head injury. You got it because by magic, though. I hope you enjoy it because I don't know how to get rid of it.
Wait, what? You can't do that.
Here are some interesting facts about taste. You also have bitter taste receptors in your trachea and bronchi, which detect irritants, and sweet receptors in your duodenum that encourage the release of insulin when activated. The taste of metal is caused by a reaction with the pH of your saliva. Putting two different kinds of metal in your mouth can even produce an electrical current. Join us next time on Adventures in Human Anatomy as we take a deeper look into the nervous system and explore the sense of sight.